In the Outpost, US Army soldiers stationed in northern Afghanistan are under constant fire by Taliban insurgents, culminating in the deadly Battle of Kamdesh. I'm Rob Licuria, Gold Derby Senior Editor, here with acclaimed director Rod Lurie. Rod, we've spoken before about this film. We've spoken at length about your son Hunter, who tragically passed away at 27 years of age during filming this movie. The same age, by the way, that many of the men depicted in this film were when they were killed in action. So you've said it was a defining moment of your life, but how inextricable then is this film to that monumental loss and ultimately its impact on you?
Well, you know, when I was with my son Hunter in the hospital, and I made the decision, along with my ex-wife, to unplug all the life-saving devices. The nurse told us that he had about 20 minutes to live. And, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get emotional now, I think, because I've told the story so many times that I can simply tell the story, which I'm grateful for, because I really want to tell his story. The nurse told us that he had about 20 minutes left to live. And as my whole family is standing in the room with me as he's expiring in front of our eyes, my daughter said to me, "Dad, I know that you feel like you can't make your movie now, but you really have to make it now, because if Hunter knew that the movie fell apart because of him, it would destroy him." And I said, "Yeah, I think that you're right." And during those 20 minutes, I called the studio, I called Millennium. I spoke to the producer on the film, and I said, "Look, I'm going to come back to Bulgaria if you'll have me. But I'm going to make the movie. I'm going to dedicate it to my son, and I'm going to make the movie my way. And I'm just going to ask that everybody get out of my way. Just let me make my movie. I promise you it's going to be good, because I'm not going to allow anything less than the best movie we can make to not have my son's name on it." And he added on to that the fact that he was the same age as the men who died in the Battle of Kamdesh. And so what you had when you were making the film, from not just me, but all the Gold Star families who were behind us, and everybody on the crew and the actors and the military personnel who were there, there was this galvanizing effect. And look, we had no money. We had very little time, but we'd be damned if we weren't going to make the best fucking movie that we could make. And, you know, we worked real hard. And, you know, Hunter's photo was always on the monitor. And whenever an actor would come around to talk to me, usually that's not a great sign. Usually that's, I got something to complain about, or, you know, I need to get off early, or, you know, whatever. And everybody would come around, they'd see Hunter's photo, and they'd turn around and leave and just go and do their jobs. And I got to say, they really came together for me and for the movie.
What I also really love about the film is how confronting and immersive it is to experience, especially the tension. You know, it builds relentlessly. You don't get any chances to take a breath, because I'm constantly anticipating the next flying bullet. And it was actually, a really difficult watch for me at some points. So talk us through how difficult it is to ratchet up tension and immerse an audience on a relatively small budget.
Well, we had a really small budget, and what all of us will be able to tell you, including the Russo brothers, who before they were making, you know, $200 million budget films, were making small and really great films as well. We all have to make our skeletons dance for us. And in this case, we had no time, and we had very little money, meaning I don't have time to do too many takes, and I don't have time to do too many setups. And so what I decided to do was to do most of the battle in single shots. Now, if you can be well prepared for that, then and you can get it in 1 or 2 takes, then you're going to save yourself a lot of money, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time. But you better be prepared, because if you keep screwing it up, it can ratchet out of control. But we did manage to do it. And so we did most of the battle sequences in 1 shot. What that also means, rather than just the cost savings and the time savings, is that the actor or the character is fully immersed in the scene and in the moment. And so when you have an actor like Landry Jones, is one of the great young actors in this country, who plays the Medal of Honor recipient Ty Carter, you know, going through a battlefield, running through it, carrying a stretcher, carrying ammo, you know, feeling the explosions around him, it can end up being very daunting and very tense. And I really honestly think that Caleb delivers one of the greatest combat performances in the history of film. I really do. I think he's amazing.
Yeah, I do as well. In fact, let's talk about the casting, because there's a sprawling cast of soldiers and local Afghans and opposing Taliban fighters. In particular, I was really impressed by Scott Eastwood, but I want to talk a bit more about Caleb Landry Jones.
Yeah. Okay.
You say one of the greatest combat performances of all time. I can't get the image out of my head at the end, which I won't spoil, but it is so devastating what he does there non-verbally. Talk us through working with him. He's a revelation.
Well, I'll tell you how I got Caleb was my producing partner, Mark Friedman, had produced a film called Stonewall, the Roland Emmerich film about the riot at a gay club in the late 1960s, I think it was, in Greenwich Village, and Caleb played a drag queen in that movie. And so Mark said, I know the perfect guy to play one of the toughest men you'll ever meet. It's going to be Caleb Landry Jones, who played the drag queen in Stonewall. And he was in Get Out, and he was in 3 Billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri. He's got a couple of lines in No Country for Old Men. And I realized he was a really great actor. But nothing he had done came anywhere close to this, Robert. And so when I met the dude for the first time, he had hair. It was a diner in Hollywood. He had hair down to his butt. He was skinnier than like olive oil in the Popeye cartoons. And let's just say that he was enjoying the liberation that came with the legalization of marijuana in Los Angeles. Right. He was exactly the opposite of Ty Carter. And when he talked, he was talking a mile a minute. Ty is actually a very taciturn guy, tough guy, Second Amendment guy, sort of feeling about him. And like Caleb was totally the opposite, but he's a great actor. And I just had the sense that if he committed to it, he would. And he had read the script, and here's what happened, Robert. Here's a story that's not really known. His brother read the script, found the script in the house, and read it. And his brother is a Marine who lost both his legs in Iraq. And he went to Caleb and he told him, you are doing this film, and you're not going to fuck it up. I want to make sure you don't fuck it up. You're going to do it right. And Caleb went to the gym. Caleb got military training. Caleb was, focused and straight as an arrow on our set, and became one of the most dedicated actors that I had ever worked with. It was really just incredible to see the transformation of this kid, and I'm really proud of him. And I think he deserves everything that he has coming in his career and his life.
Yeah, Rod, some of the shots in the film are really breathtaking. Lorenzo Senatore, your DP, he does a great job, especially the way the camera moves around that rickety old bridge. I'm still trying to work out how the hell you did that. And of course, the extended scenes throughout the final third of the film. So you didn't pull any punches when it came to how ambitious you were trying to be here. Right. Do you have a favorite shot or sequence from it?
Well, I do love the bridge shot, and the Russo brothers may be able to tell you how it was done, but that's the one scene that I don't tell anybody. But if I had to point to a favorite shot, it'd be one close to the end of the movie where Ty Carter, Caleb Landry Jones, and Hank Hughes, who plays Brad Larson, are taking a stretcher across the entire length of combat outpost Keating. And they're going through explosions and bodies falling, and it's like an impeccably choreographed scene, not just by the actors, but also by the camera operator who's got to keep up with them. And they end up going inside, a sort of medic building. And so there's an iris pull there. It's just very intricate camera moves there, but it's really, really intense as a result, because we give no reprieve to anybody with any sort of cuts. And what I'm proudest of, though, is this. When you're going to do a sequence like that, the person you most have to take into account is the camera operator. That's a very heavy camera. And if you have to do it again, if you're doing a shot that athletic, he may need an hour of recovery or even longer. So what Lorenzo did, he got an idea from the movie that the DP used in the movie Das Boot back several decades ago, and that is that he disassembled the entire camera, put it into a backpack, and then with a cable connected to the lens and the monitor. So that's all that our operator, Sasha Proctor, who's a real athlete, had to use. So he was able to keep up with these actors who were, going full tilt boogie. And so I was really proud of that shot. And most of the shots in the battle are done as oneers. And but that, I think, is the one that has a special place in my heart. And at the end of the sequence, Hank Hughes, our actor, we did that shot 3 times. Every time he threw up in the background at the end of the scene. You can look for it as a little Easter egg to people who see the film a second time.
I will definitely look out for that again. Rod, thanks so much for your time today,
Sure.
and congrats on a really great film. We're going to bring you back soon for the group chat.